just goes back what I said before about guns in America. I think it's such a longer conversation, but it's we're the only ones who keep dealing with this same story, the same conversation every single time it happens, and it just continues to happen. And you know, the ability to get a gun, the ability to to do these things over and over and over, and there's been no change is literally ridiculous. It makes no sense that we continue to lose innocent lives, and on campuses, on schools, at shopping markets, and you know, movie theaters, and all type of stuff. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, and the fact that we haven't changed anything, it's actually been a lot easier to actually be able to own a firearm. It's stupid.
Listen, I'm not gonna jump on LeBron, call him stupid, anything. He says stupid shit, especially when it comes to politics. But I think he's far from stupid individual, even with him being a sports player. Because you could say sports guys, they're savants at what they do, and but when it comes to the world, I don't think LeBron's a dumb guy. I think he's from the perception that we get from the optics, he's a good family man. I think some of the plays, some of the stuff that he does within sports, it shows shows a intellect that transcends just physical. I have having a physical gift of being able to jump high and run fast. Like I think he's a smart guy. It takes the way you've heard stories about how he's able to read defenses and anticipate particular things. I think he's a intelligent guy, but he falls victim to but just not even just celebrities, but just everyday people fall victim to just being ignorant to what's real because you've been indoctrinated and told particular things all your life. And so you're just gonna, this is what you know. And so you're gonna, more times than not, you're gonna regurgitate that stuff. And there's a process. First, there's an awakening. You have to have the right information planted in your mind. And then it's not gonna be just overnight that, oh, okay, now I'm accepting that. It's gonna be certain things that trigger that seed of information that got planted. It's gonna be certain things that trigger that, and then it's gonna be over time, and stuff will start revealing itself. But because how humans operate, it's just a lot of times it's not likely to where they able to receive that, and it's kind of harder when a person has a level of success in life and they have a level of money and everything to where they don't have to worry about how they're gonna where their next meal's gonna come from, or if the car breaking down and certain things like that. When shit goes bad for you, you start pondering on a lot of different things in life. Um, and I'm not saying that's what LeBron's situation or anything like that. It's just it's a little harder to get through people who have accomplished things in life. They a lot of times they figure that shit, they've got it all figured out, and why should I listen to somebody who makes less than me and shit like that? You see how people talk, man. Like I said, I'm not applying any of that to LeBron. But LeBron made a comment, was asked about, the recent, mass shooting that happened on the, campus of UNLV. And he made a comment basically talking about the Second Amendment and saying that it was stupid. And LeBron's made, dumb comments. These guys, they play basketball. They're not well versed politically, stuff like that. Also, there are those pictures of LeBron. Uh, I'm not sure how much reading he does. Those pictures of him. Every picture of him with a book, he's always on the first page and stuff like that. He had the Malcolm X book. Malcolm X is for the Second Amendment. Did I say Second Amendment? I think I might have said the First Amendment. But Second Amendment. Malcolm X was for the Second Amendment. And so, but if he hasn't read or really understood those type of things. I don't know, man. I don't know. You also had this, where he got on the officer and he's talking about you next to the officer that saved, a girl from getting stabbed. But, he wasn't the only one. There's a lot of idiots that were getting on the officer and saying he was wrong for shooting a girl that was about to go stab another girl right in front of her. And they were talking about his racist, even though he saved another black girl. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Don't try to make sense of it. So LeBron is, it's not to single him out, but he's the topic of right now. And it's not done from a bad place. Most people have good intentions on why they want, restrictions and, regulations and different things like that. Because they just want a safer world. They don't, get potentially be somebody they love and it could be them. They just want a safer world. And that's understandable. But they don't understand what the Second Amendment was about. Yeah, of course, black people, they didn't have the same rights back then. And I'm speaking as a black man, and they didn't have the same rights and shit like this. Listen, the Constitution is the agreement between the public, the citizen. It's an ideal. Even past law, it's an ideal understanding of the agreement between the citizen and the government. And should the government break that pact, then you understand where the line's been crossed and you act accordingly. It's that simple. Now they didn't abide by that back then because they didn't give black people the same rights and weren't looking at them as humans and shit like that. But it still doesn't take away the ideology. You still it's something that you still have to understand what it's about. You can sit up there and talk about, hell, black people couldn't always play basketball. They couldn't always play basketball. Does that make their 2 points today when LeBron makes a dunk? Does it? I mean, shit, they still got to put 2 points on the board now. You don't sit up there and say, hey, we didn't have that back then, so your 2 points don't count. I mean, listen, our government does whatever the fuck it wants anyway. We really don't have rights. No rights. We got privileges. And however long, whenever their cartel asses say that they want to revoke whatever from you. The Second Amendment is for rogue governments, foreign and domestic enemies. In the event that you get invaded. We got the best military in the fucking world. But we do know that our government runs all type of different psyops and tries to make it look like it's something else. You have 9/11. You have COVID. They said that they tried to kill everybody. They killed a lot of people. Killed a lot of people's loved ones. They got all type of tactics. The Second Amendment is for that. That was the concept when it was made. And these type of people, they are not above you as an individual. They are not above doing some foul shit whenever they see fit and what they've shown over and over again. That's why you do not give up your Second Amendment rights. The Second Amendment is not stupid. But what they do is play upon people's emotions and play upon, their security. They know in times of crisis, people are willing to give up more and more of their security. Freedom is rough. Freedom, if that's what you want, because we claim that, the system is fucked up. They'll speak within the same breath, talking about how bad the system is and everything like this. Well, you understand what comes with the other side and accessing freedom and then maintaining that. or maintaining, if you want to have an alternate system, what comes in that with that? There's always an enemy. Life has been built. Everybody who has achieved power, they've achieved it through violence in this world. Today, the way the power structure is, it's been achieved through violence. That's what it's always been. If you were somehow able to get free, that shit is always going to be looming over your head. We've seen everything that's happened just here in the present time with Ukraine, over there in whether it's Israel or the Gaza Bank, the West Bank, over in Palestine, over there in Ukraine. There was those guys, they all of a sudden they wanted to say, hey, okay, now those guys can have guns and give them your weapons. And we're sitting up here using our taxpayer money to feed the guys with weapons. Then a lot of those guys are saying that they don't even have enough fucking bullets to even fight back. Because they're sitting up here having to rely on another man, government, other human beings to supply their safety, their right to life. That's why the Second Amendment is there. So you can be able to defend yourself properly. And that's not even taking into account, just domestically and just our everyday lives, dealing with intruders, people trying to, just crazy folks, people trying to come and commit mass shootings in the public space. Shit, there may be casualties, but most people are going to do the right thing. A lot of people own guns. A lot of people in these suburban places, they got guns, and you don't hear about a bunch of shootings and shit. Now, the shit that goes on in the inner cities and stuff, that's a different story. But that stuff it's U.S. government tactics, whether you want to believe that or not. Yes, there has to be responsibility on the person, but these people know how human beings operate. And you said you're given particular imagery and put them in particular type of conditions and just feed that to them. Feed them imagery and poison and have them, have them just unhealthy all the time. It affects the mind. It affects the mindset and the response and the conflict resolution. But most people aren't even there. A lot of people got guns. Even in the streets, there's a lot of cats that got guns. And ain't everybody just going around and just shooting shit all willy-nilly. Motherfuckers is there to protect themselves from the nutcases, man. Yeah, it'll be some casualties, but it'll be a lot less than some guy just being able to just shoot up a whole bunch of shit and just being like shooting. It's just easy. You just picking apart whoever you want to. And they try to suppress stories to where there's people who are saviors with guns. They always suppress those stories, and they want to push the victims. They want to push the victimhood, and they want to push the fear of guns. But they don't talk about stuff. We forget about things like the Iran-Contra scandal. We forget about the corruption within our government, all the drugs that keep flowing. Drugs are illegal, but somehow all these drugs still keep getting in through the country. So you think criminals aren't going to be able to get guns. And then you're going to make it harder for the everyday person, the people who quote unquote, abide by the law. You're going to make it harder for them to get what they need. And you want to leave, and then you got certain things on if a person's sane enough, and you want to leave that within the government's hands when it comes to regulation. And you've seen how they've responded to things people say online, so they want to deem Now they'll be able to deem whatever they think is a threat. They'll be able to try to deem whether you're sane or not. You want to be able, you want to trust that? You want to trust that? It's just things you got to think about. But the main thing that it was built upon was when your government goes corrupt. And yeah, people talk about, oh, they got shit. They got, like Biden said, we've got F-15s and we got planes and stuff. We can drop bombs and shit like that. Then let that be that. Let that be what your recourse, to bomb a whole city and blow up everybody. I mean, that's what y'all do anyway. Innocent or not, just gonna blow up everybody. So let that be your recourse. Okay. Still have our guns. Shit. If the government's be able to have fucking bombs and shit like that, I'm not even gonna go there. Let's just talk about guns. Fuck it. Still keep your guns. Don't let that be a reason. You can't beat us. Basically saying you can't beat us, so why try anyway? Silly stuff, man. The threat's always going to be there. If you're able to get away and create your ideal, perfect society within itself, you're still going to have human beings are flawed, and human beings, there's a lot of power-hungry human beings. And that threat is always going to be there. How do you think civilizations have lost what they've had before? You will lose your civilization if you do not have the concept of knowing that life is war. I'm not saying instigate it. I'm not saying initiate conflict, but you must be ready to defend yourself at all times. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section. I have no problem with LeBron James. He's just like a lot of people who believe this garbage. They're fools. Fools in the literal sense. They're ignorant. But they're not bad people. It's the grit culture. I'll holler at y'all later.